I love Halloween. Put another treat in my treat bag, baby.
These Bluetooth Reapers will be featured in today's Triple Terror by popular demand, thanks to you. Yes, you.
I want to do something kind of fun. I don't know. Listen, I like having fun with these videos. But yes, that's right. We are doing another Lowe's Triple Terror video. This will be the last one. By popular demand, we are covering the new Bluetooth Reaper Trio. So we're not covering the drummer because that came out last year. I don't know if I ever talked about it, but long story short, I like it. I think it's cool. So we're going to be covering the singer, the keyboardist, and the guitarist in that exact order. Now, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it and say that I have pretty positive opinions about all three of them. I actually liked the ones from last year, so of course I'm going to have very high opinions on these this year. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it and talk about the band singer. The band singer was revealed much earlier in the season with a lot of the other leaks. And I had to say, when I first saw it, I was really curious as to what it was going to do. I thought it was super cool. I like that he's, standing on a tombstone and he's got, that rock symbol on his hand. And I thought it was really cool. And I also liked that, instead of him just having the plain black cloak, he's got red creepy cloth draped over him. So he actually stands out more from the other Reapers. He has more of the, the Reaper, leader type of look to him, which I thought really worked in Techie's favor with this design. So, of course, I was really excited when I saw the movement where he bobs his head and his arm moves back and forth. I thought it was really cool. Super simple movement, but sometimes less is more, especially with a character like this. Yeah, no, I really like it. His price point is pretty fair at $250. It looks like a pretty bulky prop with him having the headstone that he's, standing on. And of course, you have the Bluetooth function and you have the cable that interconnects him with the other Reaper band members. I have really gotten a good look at this because I have friends that have him, and I will definitely say I'm more impressed with him. And of course the other members as well, but this one in particular I'm pretty pleased with. I think it was just done really, really, really well. So I definitely have to give Techie props. It really makes me want to see what else they're going to do, what other variants of this character they're going to do, or just other Reaper band characters in general that they plan on doing. A really interesting thing about this is the very first stock photo you see actually has him showing amber LEDs, which I thought was kind of interesting that he had amber lights. I don't know if that was a mistake on Lowe's end, or if that was an editing mistake on Techie's end, or if that was really what the prototype was meant to look like. That was just a plan they had, and then they kind of just went with blue LEDs instead. I do like the theme of all of them having their own individual colored eyes. He's got blue, the keyboardist has purple, and the new guitarist has red. So they're all a little different from each other, which I think is really cool. It gives them all a little bit of individuality. I don't really care for the white hair, honestly. I wish he had something a little more punk rock, kind of like the drummer and the keyboardist have. I think it does kind of take away from his character a little bit. I wish either the hair was dyed or he had some crazy, spiked mohawk where it's in little sections, if that makes sense. Not like the drummer, but more punk rock looking, or it's just in strips. That would have been really, really cool. Or even if he had a bone mohawk, that would have been super hardcore too. But that's just a little nitpick I have with him. It just, I feel like he looks like an old man hanging out with a bunch of teenagers, basically. I know they're all a bunch of dead people, but still, I wish he kind of blended in more with the two other band members that have cool dyed hair. He just kind of stands out on his own and kind of in a weird way. I don't know. It just feels a little weird to me, but I still like him. You know, it doesn't really take away from his character any. I think he's still super punk. I think it's super cool. Again, I like that he's like, you know, kind of kneeling on a tombstone and he's just rocking out and having a good time. I think that's super fun. I like, you know, fun props like this. So overall, I'm really pleased with him. I definitely see myself getting this, and I see myself getting the whole, like, band in general, including the old guitarist to be, like, the backup guitarist or even the bass line. I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan. A little bit different. I'm not running their demo videos at the end because they're all basically the same. They just show different views of the props. So, womp womp, but you're not missing much. So now we are on to our next character, which is the keyboardist. And this one's actually my favorite out of all of them, including the old ones. It's just, in general, my favorite character. For one, I like that he has a whole entire keyboard, and it looks like a real keyboard as well. Techie did not come to play around with this one. It is very detailed. It looks like you could just play it, which is super awesome. It's also attached to the base, so it definitely has a little more stability to it, which was the concern I had. I've heard that this thing is really well done. It is very high quality, which I am very thankful for, because this is the one that I had probably the most expectations for, because again, I thought it was the coolest one. I like his kind of Skrillex looking hairstyle. I liked the look of the actual keyboard. I like the purple eyes because, you know, my favorite color is purple. And I also really liked, and it's just a really weird, like, critique. I mean, it's not really a critique because I liked it. I really like how the hair moves when he's bobbing his head up and down. It's just kind of a nice, like, natural movement. It adds a little more, like, animation to him, which I thought was really nice, and it just adds a little more to the character. So this is another one where you can either have the hood down or hood up, and Techie seems to prefer him with his hood down to kind of show off his really cool looking hair. I do like that his hair has black streaks in it as well, so he does differentiate more from the drummer, which I'm pretty sure either just has plain black hair, or not plain red hair, or yeah, no, he does have plain red hair. I just pulled him up real quick as a reference. And I do like that they give them all like a little bit of their own little personalities. Again, you know, with him having kind of Skrillex styled hair, and like the drummer having the earring, even though he has no ears, so he has it like drilled through his skull. But anyway, it's cool. It kind of makes him look like the youngest of the band, which I think is a lot cooler since he is working with like more like technologically advanced instrument, and these grandpas are like singing and strumming a guitar and banging on their drums with a bone. So I don't know, I thought it was really cool. I like the movement. The only issue I have two problems with this. Number one, I don't like that he has human hands. He does have human hands. They painted him bone to get away with it. But listen, I look at these things. I look at these things very carefully. And he's got like human fleshy hands, right? I also don't like that only one hand is playing the keyboard. I think that does honestly take away from it. I wish that both hands would play the keyboard. And this is a little nitpick. I wish the keyboard had spotlights that would shine up onto the keyboardist. I know it has lights on the skulls that like face towards you, but I really wish it would shine up onto the keyboard instead and give him some really cool lighting effects. Again, just a little, idea maybe if they remake him. That's what I would do, is again, have both hands move and give him this really cool, dramatic, colorful lighting that shines up on his face. Because that would be super cool. It would be a great attention grabber. You'd be like, whoa, what is all of that? And then you're going to see this really dope Reaper band. Another thing I don't care for is the webbing on the keyboard. I think it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't love just techie in their spider webs lately. They did it on the pneumatic grandpa, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. They did it on the pop-up grave zombie, and I'm tolerating it. And then they did it on this, and this one I just do not really care for it. If I get them, it's being removed. It just doesn't look great to me. So that's one, I think, downside of this. I don't get it. I don't understand why they did it. I don't know if it was like, ooh, Halloween, but you have a dead guy playing a keyboard. I think that's already Halloween enough, in my opinion. And again, like, he looks great and he looks spooky and fun. Like, I don't really see the need for the webs on it, but that's just my humble opinion. It doesn't ruin the prop for me because you can just easily remove it and peel off the glue. It's not a make or break it. I've gotten really good up close looks of this guy too. I've seen assembly videos and he looks really good quality. So I trust this. I think I'm gonna have an easy time assembling it. I don't think I'm gonna struggle with this. I know Techie's doing more advanced builds and more advanced props this year, so a little interested about that. I am really excited to see kind of how well these would stand compared to the old ones, because the old ones were a little iffy, which, that's just what happens when you introduce new props sometimes. It is what it is, but yeah. So if this guy gets remade, a few things I would change to kind of go back to that. Take off the webbing, add some spotlights, give him actual skeletal hands, because I think it looks weird that they gave them like an ivory finish, but they're very clearly human hands. I'm sure not everyone's going to notice that, but I notice it, and I'm sure other people notice it, and it does take away from him a little bit, because he's a skeleton, And I don't know. Oh yeah, and the other hand to move, because I think that would look cooler. Or even if you had them, if you gave them the Wednesday arm movement, I think that would look even cooler. It would add even more movement. Just that's a reskin you could get away with, because it would make sense, because it looks like he's playing the keyboard, and it would look a little more dynamic. I don't know. I'm not the guy that designed this. I'm just kind of giving my opinion. Also, this guy is $298, so it's a little more pricey, but again, I'm assuming a lot of that's coming from these really big bulky parts, like the giant ass keyboard that is up to scale with a real keyboard. Again, that's really impressive, and it's more impressive that it looks so real. So, I have to give credit where credit's due. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to the last one. Now we're on to our final new cast member, which is the guitar player. Now this one has gone through quite a few changes in the short time that it's been around. First of all, let's talk about the original model that came out last year. It was mostly the same, except it had, let's see, I'm kind of pulling him up real quick. I have to pull up these references. So he had the kind of a cooler looking guitar, and this one looked like an actual real guitar. And he had blue eyes instead of red, which they changed that too. And then what they ended up doing is they gave him a new guitar. Now this guitar has more of a Halloween feel, where the actual, is it the head? Is that what you call it? The actual guitar piece is a bat wing. So the original prototype, it was green. Me personally, I liked the green quite a bit. I think it makes him look different from the original one, because I know people have the original one and they're going to pair these together. And then they changed it to red, which I don't really care for as much as the green. I think the green was a lot cooler. But I do really love the Batwing look. So the actual head of the guitar and then the very back piece is shaped like a Batwing. So they gave him more of a Halloween aesthetic instead of the original one, which looked like an old, fancy schmancy electric guitar. So, right off the bat, I do love the Batwing aesthetic. I think it is super cool. I wish they would have painted it a little more because, you know, it's a lot fancier. I think there's a little more to look at. But it is what it is. Like, you know, I wish they would have done, like, a dark red finish on, like, the fingers of the bat. Because it's a really cool sculpt. And it looks freaking sick. Like, this thing is badass. He is bad to the bone. One thing I do wish they did on this one is I wish they gave him the hinged jaw that the other two new ones have, because it looks really cool when they're bobbing their heads and their jaws are moving. And this is actually the only one that has the moving head that does not have the hinged jaw, which I thought was really weird. I also think it's weird that they didn't give him additional movement, like a moving hand that looks like he's strumming the guitar. He's just bobbing his head. Now, granted, I think it's cool that it looks like, you know, he's rocking out to the music, but I also think to give him a little more animation to further differentiate him from the old one would have been a lot more clever and probably would have made this a lot cooler. Because to some extent, I do feel like I've seen this already. You know, it's not as cool, in my opinion. Minus the guitar, but the guitar is freaking awesome. But, you know, I wish they did a little more. I wish they gave him, you know, the hinged jaw, and I wish they would have given him, like, a moving hand. You know, a little more to kind of give the children what they want, as they say. But other than that, I think it's fine. I mean, I think it's cool. It matches the rest of the Reaper band. I don't love the red eyes. Again, it just feels a little generic. I hate saying that about Techie, because Techie is such a strong powerhouse of a company, but to me it does. You know, I see red eyes on props all the time, and I wish they would have not used that specific color, or amber, which I know they used amber on the drummer. I wish they changed that color. I wish they kept the green guitar, and I wish they would have made his eyes green. Yeah, like, my brain glitched there. I think it would have looked cooler. I think it would have, again, made him look different. They would have contrasted a little more. And that's a bare minimum. I think if they at least did that, I would like it more. Because I do plan on getting the original guitarist to kind of grow the band a little more and to make it seem like an actual full-fledged rock band. But, I don't know. This guy is actually the cheapest of the bunch. I believe, I think he's cheaper than the drummer at $229. Yes, he is the cheapest. The drummer, by the way, is $249, so he's the same price as the singer, which I think is a pretty reasonable price considering what you're getting. So yeah, that's really it. I don't have a lot more to say about the guitarist. It's just, again, I feel like I've seen it before, so it's, to me, it's not as wow as, you know, last year's was to me. It's just not, it's not as impactful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Which saddens me a little bit, because I was hoping for a little more. But nonetheless, it's so cool. So overall, I do like this series of props. And again, I am excited to see what they do. If they continue the rock band, or if they create new characters, a new Bluetooth line for Halloween. I know they have a Bluetooth Christmas line, which are the Nutcrackers, and they do also have a Bluetooth radio that's Wednesday themed. So it looks like Techie is really out here doing more Bluetooth props to show more versatility, which I am honestly here for. I like that. Beforehand, it was mainly just Jimmy, and the one thing that Techie has that Jimmy doesn't is design, honestly, and animation. So, two things. I lied to you guys. Techie has two things on Jimmy. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Our next Triple Terror, we will be discussing Party City, and that will be Cthulhu Watcher, Hacking Heidi, and Dr. Payne. 3 animatronics I am very excited to talk about. So, that being said, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.